Alright, so when it comes to the art of the possible, there's Dave Petraeus, and then there's Everybody Else by Admiral Mike Mullen, Chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff. Today I will inform you of 4 ways General David H. Petraeus contributed to our country, the United States of America, which are his military service, awards and decorations, deployment history, and continued service after separating from the armed forces. The first contribution of General David H. Petraeus contributed to our great nation was military service. Military education and background. He was first at West Point, where he graduated at the top of his class with an MPA and PhD in International Relations from Woodrow Wilson School of Public and International Affairs at Princeton University. Next, he actually went on to the Army Ranger School and graduated at the top of his class. He was also the Assistant Executive Officer to the Army Chief of Staff and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. According to achievements.org, his military command was at First Lieutenant all the way to Lieutenant Colonel. He was in an infantry and mechanized unit in the U.S. and in Europe. He held leadership positions in airborne, mechanized, and air assault infantry units in Europe, the United States, and in the Middle East. I just discussed his military service. Now I will talk about his awards and decorations. As you can see from the picture, there is a lot of awards, but I'm going to go ahead and pinpoint the key points of what he actually wears on his uniform. The second way he actually got recognized for his contributions, David H. Petraeus was awarded for his service with awards and decorations, and this is all according to the U.S. Central Command. His first awards and decorations, he has 4 Legions of Merit, which are right up here. He has the 2 Defense Distinguished Service Medals, which is right there. 2 Distinguished Service Medals, which is right here. The Bronze Star for Valor, that's the one with the little V on it right here. He has State Department Distinguished Service Award, which is this one over here. He has a NATO Meritorious Service Medal, which is, I believe, this one right here. He has a Gold Award of the Iraq Order of the Date Palm, French Legion d'Honneur, National Defense Cross of the Czech Republic, and obviously many, many more. His decorations, he was actually a master parachutist. He was air assault. He also wore a Ranger tab after graduating top of his class at Ranger School, and he also had his combat action badge, which is this one right up here. He has a French, British, and German jump wings, which is a part of his Master Jump Awards. In 2005, he was the U.S. News and World Report America's 25 Best Leaders awardee. 2007, he was one of 4 runners-up for Times Magazine for Person of the Year. In 2009, he was the Foreign Policy Magazine World's Top 100 Public Intellectuals. In 2009, he was Esquire Magazine's one of the 75 most influential people of the 21st century. He also got the George Kennan Award from the National Committee of American Foreign Policy, and he was 2010 James Madison Medal awarded to him from Princeton University. All right, I just discussed the awards and decorations he received for his service to our country, and now I will discuss General H. Petraeus. Oh no, how do I go back? There we go. Now I will discuss General Petraeus' military deployment history. His the third contribution General Petraeus made of the United States were his deployment history. His deployment history and military operations, according to Adam Augustin, a reporter with the United States Command in Chief of Central Command. This was dated November 3rd, 2021. He was 1995 Chief Operations Officer for the United Nations mission to help establish democracy in Haiti. From 2001 to 2002, he was the Assistant Chief of Staff for operations for the Multinational Stabilization Force sent by NATO, which is actually North Atlantic Treaty Organization. In 2003, he was the commander of the 101st Airborne Division, and he led them into Iraq. In 2007, after leaving the 101st and relinquishing his command, President Bush actually appointed him to take command of the multinational force in Iraq, and his nominations was unanimously approved by the U.S. Senate. In 2008, 1 year after that, he was nominated to succeed Admiral William J. Fallon as head of CENTCOM. In 2010, after 2 years of serving there, Petraeus was named commander of the U.S. and NATO forces in Afghanistan. I just discussed the deployment history, which that's him in his Kevlar with his name strip on the top. I just discussed his deployment history of General Petraeus while serving in the United States Army. Now I will discuss his continued service to our nation after separating from the armed forces, as well as his retirement. The fourth contribution General Petraeus made to the United States of America was his continued service to our nation after he separated from the military. During his retirement, according to the Richard Martin, a reporter with the Army Times, after leading 2 wars, Petraeus retires from the Army, dated August 31st, 2011. General Petraeus retired after 37 years of military service in uniform. A couple hundred people gathered at Fort Myer, Virginia, across the Potomac River from Washington, where the actual capital river was. His continued service after retiring from the military was the President Obama actually appointed General Petraeus a position to spearhead the war in Afghanistan, and without even calling home to check with his wife, he actually went ahead and took the job. Deployed straight to Afghanistan within the month. After returning from a year in Afghanistan, taking over the command of the war in Afghanistan, he was actually offered 3 different positions. He was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He was also offered the position of Chief of Staff of the Army, and he was also offered the head of the CIA. But after 3 months of talking with his wife, he actually went ahead and took over as the head of the CIA. And in conclusion, I just discussed 4 ways that General H. Petraeus contributed to our freedom in the United States and continued to serve our great nation after he separated from military service. I believe that the nation is greater due to his contribution of military service during his time, not only in uniform, but even after his time in uniform. We don't say can't. You just haven't figured it out yet.